All right. So let's kick it off and look at what we're going to cover today. So we are in the real estate expert of choice section of Ignite. And so, like I said, today we are going to talk about how to connect with your market. And by the end of this class, you're going to know exactly how to answer the question, how's the market, in a way that will help you convert those conversations into potential clients. And so for those of you that like a roadmap to success and want to look at what today's class is going to be about, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over how to study the market effectively. After that, we're going to talk about what are some of the moving factors of a real estate market. What should you be keeping an eye on so that you can remain like the economist of choice on the real estate market? We're going to talk a little bit about some easy to use resources that you have. One with your affiliation with Keller Williams, and two, some things through the MLS that you have access to that will help you get data points to talk about the market. As always in a Keller Williams class, we're going to share our ahas as we go forward. So please have your chat up ready to put something in the chat. I love talking to people, so you can also feel free to come off mute. And then just like I said, it's always important that success is found in what you do daily, right? And so we're going to go over again the daily success habits that you need to continue to move your real estate business forward. Okay, so this is a quote from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. If you don't have this book, please let someone in the office know immediately, and we will get you a copy. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is from start to finish, how to start as a brand new licensed agent and how to grow a business to be a 7th level business, which means you are truly the CEO of your own organization, and you're making lots of money and helping a lot of people along the way. And so this is a quote out of that book. And this is one of the things that I hear from agents sometimes when we're talking about different lead generation activities. They'll say, well, that only works in that market. That could only possibly work in that market. By the way, I run the Kingston office, which just opened 2 years ago. And for years before we opened, they said, well, that only works in this county, in that county. The Keller Williams business model doesn't work in Ulster County. Meanwhile, in about a year, we were the #1 single office in Ulster County. So it does, right? So what works someplace, you can figure out how to make it work here. So the quote is, here's the truth. If it has been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it has been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world. And so what this quote really does is it helps us understand that applying the right systems and models to your market can help you achieve the success of those that have come before you. I remember 1 year at family reunion, I was in person. I think it was last time they had it in Anaheim. We're going back to Anaheim this coming year. It's going to be fun. Last time we were in Anaheim and we're sitting in this big conference room and Gary Keller's bringing up all these people that are doing business that blows your mind. And he brought up this woman and she had sold 500 houses the year before. And so when you hear that, you think she must be in Chicago or Los Angeles or New York City, like someplace where there's like 20,000 houses sold. How do you sell 500 houses? It turns out this woman lives and works in Alaska. Their total was only about 1,200 houses sold in her market area. Her market area, people in her market, there's about 8,000 people. So it's about the size of New Paltz, honestly. And she had almost half of the sales her team did. And so when I had the limiting belief, the same thing of, well, this woman's going to come out and talk about that she's in this huge metro area where that's not possible where I am. And then turns out she's in the same market that at that point I was still selling real estate that I was in, doing that. Now she was doing that through client events and through database marketing, and she shared a bunch of great tips around that. But it just goes to show that if you're learning about somebody doing something great somewhere, you can apply it here. I think that this is one of the main values of your partnership with Keller Williams is that you're not just learning what a couple of agents locally are doing. You truly have access to what agents all across the country are doing. We have 180,000 Keller Williams agents in our company. That's a lot of realtors doing a lot of different things. And I hope that this is no surprise, we have a culture of sharing here, right? So if something's working for me, I'm going to share it with you so that you can try it too. And so that really is one of the benefits of being partnered with Keller Williams, having access to tools like KW Connect that we're going to talk about a little bit later today. You can go in and type in open houses, listing presentation, something, else that you want to learn about. And you might have 50 different agents that are sharing the exact strategy that's working for them. So the key here is just to find somebody that's doing what you want to do and then learn from them. So I love this quote. Okay, so we're at the front part, know your market. And the good news about knowing your market, and I think this is maybe another belief that some newer agents hold that isn't true, is that you don't have to be in this business for a long time to understand the real estate market. You don't have to be selling real estate for 20 years to understand what's going on in the current real estate market. This is all, a lot of this is going to be data based, right? And so you can study this and you can learn this very quickly. And you don't have to be doing this business for 20 years in order to be a market expert. Okay, so the first step here is in the goal of knowing your market is all about research and preparation. So we're going to go over some tools and tips and tricks that we have that will help you study the market so you can have some fast facts on hand with you. Generally speaking, and you might want to write this down, you can know market factors on two levels. The first level is a macro level, and the second level is a micro level. A macro level, you'll know what's going on in the city or the metro area that you live in. So that might for us look like on a macro level, you have an understanding of what's going on in the Hudson Valley as a whole, right? Or what's going on in Rockland County as a county, or what's going on in the upstate region as a whole, kind of, right? That's a macro level. You could also say you could zoom out and what's going on a macro level with the real estate market in the country, right? Again, we get good data because we have offices in all 50 states and a bunch of different countries to understand what's going on in the market because of that. On a micro level, you really hone in on the specific facts about neighborhoods or certain parts of town where you'll be focusing your effort. So on a macro level, you have to understand what's going on nationally with the real estate market. We're going to talk about driving factors of that. Then on a macro level, you also have to understand in a general sense what's going on in the Hudson Valley in our region and in your county. And then on a micro level, it's also important to understand what's going on in the cities and towns that you work directly in. For instance, in Kingston here, where we have our office, Tech City, the old IBM campus. The old IBM campus was vacant and decrepit for many, 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 many years. Holly's nodding her head. She knows that it's true. Yep. Well, what happened recently? Finally, the property has finally changed hands, and it is poised for this huge redevelopment in Kingston that's going to bring thousands of jobs to the area and really kind of change potentially the landscape of the housing market. And that's an important factor to understand. Understanding things like that, that is what your clients, that is how you can show up as an expert. So if anybody has thought for a minute, imposter syndrome, like who am I to be helping somebody with with real estate when I don't own a house yet, or I haven't helped anybody sell a house yet, or I don't live in that area, so I don't know everything that's going on. I guarantee that you're not giving yourself enough credit and that you probably know more about the areas that you live and work in than you are giving yourself credit for. And the more that you study, and I'm going to give you some tips about how to do this in a little bit, the more that you're able to study these types of things and have knowledgeable conversations, the better off and the quicker you will gain validity with your clients. And when you gain validity with your clients, you will get into relationship with them quickly. Okay, so you definitely want to know your market. And so when we're talking about the market, there are 3 types of real estate markets. There's only 3, and we're always in one of them. You're never in one that's not one of these three. So there are three types of real estate markets. These markets are based on the amount of inventory available. So hopefully you're taking notes, and you should write down inventory is the number one determinator. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Holly's trying to help me. I'm like, determinator, that can't be right. I think that's what we call pregnancy brain, is the number one, factor of the real estate market. So go ahead, Holly, what is it? How do I say it?
Determiner.
Determiner.
And congratulations.
Oh, thanks. I think determinator. I like determinator.
I like determinator.
But okay, determiner. It's the number one determiner of the real estate market. So I'm going to say it again so you can write that down. The real estate market, the number one determiner of the real estate market is inventory. Start and stop. So there's three types of real estate markets. You also want to write this down. The first type is a buyer's market. In a buyer's market, you have more than 7 months of inventory. And when we're talking about months of inventory, if you're not sure exactly what that means that if you take the total amount of homes that are currently for sale in the market. So say there is 100 homes for sale on the current real estate market. And if last month 50 houses sold, that means that you divide 100 by 50 and you get 2. And so you have 2 months of inventory. So what months of inventory means is if not one single more house was listed, how many months would it take the current inventory to be depleted? Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions about months of inventory or how to calculate that? Okay, so it's the total homes for sale divided by how many homes on average sell per month in a certain area. So when you're in a buyer's market, you have more than 7 months of inventory. It will take you more than 7 months to sell. So that means generally that there's more houses available than there are buyers in the market. When I got my real estate license in 2014, it was a buyer's market. We were still coming out of the recession. And it's been very interesting watching the market shift, but that was a buyer's market. And if you thought buyers were difficult to work with in a seller's market, wait till you work with buyers in the buyer's market, because they want everything under the sun. I always tell this story. I remember on the MLS, when I used to study the market all the time, back when I was first licensed, you would look in the agent remarks, and I'm not exaggerating, it would say free cruise, free 10-day cruise with accepted offer. That is what was going on. Buyers were like, I want the $20,000 seller's concession. And sellers were like, okay, no problem. I mean, really, that was the buyer's market. So that's more than 7 months of inventory. A balanced market is going to be 5 to 7 months of inventory. So you're in a balanced market. That means houses are coming on the market and they're selling, right? And you're kind of like, the really good houses are probably going pretty close to asking or into multiple offers, but not everything is such a hot button like it is in a seller's market. Now, most of you, if you're newer to the real estate industry, you've probably entered the industry in what we've been in for the past couple of years, which is a seller's market. And so a seller's market has less than 5 months of inventory. I think across the board in the counties that we service, we are, I'm not sure about the upstate region, but I know in Ulster, Dutchess, Rockland, Orange, I think we're hovering around 2 months of inventory, in some areas like 1.5 months worth of inventory. So we're still in a very, very strong seller's market in the area. Now, again, when you're talking about understanding macro events, well, what happened? We were in a seller's market before 2020. We're in a normal kind of seller's market where there was maybe 4 or 5 months of inventory. Houses were selling. You were getting multiple offers on good houses. Sometimes things were taking a little bit longer. You could negotiate a fair deal. It wasn't this crazy heightened market. And then what happened? COVID happened. So is that a macro event for our area? And does it look different in our area than it looked in New York City? Because what happened during COVID, if you're an agent in New York City, you have everyone leaving, getting out. I gotta go. I gotta go. And where are they going? To us, to Hoboken, to North Jersey, to Connecticut, right? They're coming out and going up. And so that's what I mean by you have to understand the macroeconomics kind of the area you're in a general sense. So in a general sense, over the past 2 years, people have been leaving more condensed areas and moving up here. Okay, so you're only in one of 3 markets. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've gone over so far? And I'm gonna go over one more time how to calculate months of inventory. So you wanna look at the total number of active homes on the market. And then you divide that by how many homes sold. You can use like the last month as an example. And I will show you guys in a little bit how to do that. Okay, so one of the Ignite sessions, I don't think you've covered it yet, but you will go over how to develop a unique value proposition for your clients, right? Where you can really stand and say, this is what sets me apart from other real estate agents. This is what makes my business stand out. And so part of a unique value proposition is understanding what your clients actually want, right? So what most buyers want is they want an agent to help them negotiate a great deal, and they want help through the home buying process. You cannot help someone negotiate a great deal if you don't understand the market. You just can't do it because you're not going to be able to explain to them what they should offer, how they should counter. Even sometimes in the market we've been in, a good deal is only going $15,000 over asking. That might sound crazy to some people, but when you know the market and you're understanding what's going on, you're going to know that's how to help them. Sellers, their biggest value proposition for realtors is number 1, exposure for their home. So how are you marketing their home and getting it in front of people? And 2, pricing strategy. They want to know how to sell their house competitively for usually maximum amount of dollars in the shortest amount of time. So there's going to be a whole CMA class during Ignite where we're going to teach you how to understand how to do CMAs at a high level. I wish I could convince Darlene to do that class. She is the CMA queen, Holly. But we will have somebody equally as good teaching how to do CMAs. And part of that, again, is how do you analyze a property so that when you place it on the market, you're placing it appropriately. Because can we agree that even in a seller's market, some houses did not sell? And can we agree that in a buyer's market, some houses sold with multiple offers? There's no difference in the two. It's just that those houses hit the current market on the head, right? So when you're in a seller's market and you're not getting any offers, it's not because the house is bad. Foreclosures sell every day. Houses filled with mold sell every day. Houses on a busy road sell every day. What you're doing is you have to match the condition with the price. That's it. That's the secret to pricing houses and understanding the market. The condition has to match the price. And if it does, in a foreclosure, for instance, that means you're probably getting a pretty good deal on it and it's cheap. And so it's going to sell for that. And if we look in a seller's market, you could have a house that is 1,400 square feet and 2 bedrooms, but is in beautiful condition and sells for $500,000 in some parts of Ulster County, right? So your condition has to match your pricing. You have to understand how those combine to understand the real estate market. Okay, so like I mentioned, inventory is one of the most important parts of understanding the real estate market. So you want to understand this. And when I was newly licensed, I would keep like a cheat sheet. Not even when I was newly licensed, when I sold real estate, I would keep a cheat sheet of this type of information handy with me. Because again, if you're somebody that's like, how do I legitimize myself when I'm having these types of conversations, or I'm kind of new and I'm nervous about talking about it, you start dropping these types of facts, like what is inventory available? How many months of supply? People are never going to ask you, so how many homes have you sold so far? Why would they ask you that? You're giving them proof that you know what you're talking about. So here's some things that you can know, and I'm going to show you exactly how to find this out in the MLS. So again, inventory is a number of properties for sale within a market. And so you want to know, what is the inventory of your market? And that might look like what is the average number of days a home stays on the market? What is the average price a home in your market sells for? Currently, how many homes are for sale at different price points? So how many homes are for sale under 200,000? How many homes are for sale from 200,000 to 300,000? How many homes are for sale from 300,000 to 400,000? By the way, not just how many, but what does a house that's $200,000 look like, and what does a house that's worth $500,000 look like? And then based on the inventory, what type of real estate market are you in, right? And you can do that by days of inventory. So what when you're looking at things that you should be doing daily, this is something I did every single day that I was an active real estate agent. You need to log into your MLS, whatever MLS you use, and you need to look at the following things: new listings, under contracts, price drops, back on markets, and sold listings. Let's say it again. Every single day you work in real estate, you need to look at this. New listings, what's gone under contract, price drops, houses that are back on market. So they had a pending offer or were under contract and the deal fell apart. Now they're back on market, and sold. Now there's a couple of benefits to understanding this. Number one, when you're talking about, as you guys continue to lead generate, right? You're doing your daily activities, you're growing your database, you're adding people in, you're doing all of that great stuff. What is going to happen is that you are going to inevitably stumble across someone that actually has a real estate need. You're going to find clients, right? And so when you find a client, and there's a whole class on this, I teach the listing class. That's going to be really great. But when you get to the buyer class, you're going to learn a whole system about how to work with buyers. But in a nutshell, you talk to them, you ask them if they're paying with cash or do they need to be pre-approved for a mortgage. Then you ask them their criteria, what they're looking for. Then you send them an initial list of homes for sale. Then you watch the market and send them more homes as they pop up on the market. So this looking at the market every day is going to solve two problems. Number one, it's going to teach you how to talk knowledgeably about the market. If you understand what listings are coming on, what's going under contract, all of those things, then you will be able to have those types of conversations. But the second part is that you will also be keeping an eye on houses to send to those people that you're having those conversations with. That's another high value proposition that people want. They want houses, if they're buyers, they want houses that could be good for them to be sent to them. By the way, your clients are watching the market. If they're buyers or sellers, they're looking at their apps like 15 times a day. Okay, don't be this realtor. I was a couple times and I learned my lesson. When you're standing in a house and you're showing buyers a property and they know more about what's going on in the neighborhood than you. And they're like, well, I know the house across the street just sold for $350. And I know that one had granite. And I heard that this happened and da, 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 da. When I was a newer agent, before I really understood the inventory, after a while, you just pick it up. But when I was a newer agent, I would print out my showing sheet. On the back of my showing sheet, I would write down anything happening in that neighborhood. And I'd glance at it. And then not only would it help me if they brought it up, but I would bring it up. Okay, so we're heading into 123 Main Street, just an FYI. 125 Main Street sold 3 months ago for $350. It's a little bit of a bigger house, blah, blah, blah. There's 2 other houses available within this neighborhood as well. That also is going to help you when you show buyers properties. Because what happens sometimes, they walk in and they go, well, I love this location, but the house isn't right because of X, Y, and Z. And if you can say, well, wait a minute, I know that there's a house right around the corner that has X, Y, and Z in this neighborhood. You look like the hero to your client. you gotta know the inventory. You have this, I can't stress this enough. If you're not doing this every day, you're doing a disservice to yourself because it's the easiest thing you can do to be knowledgeable in the current market. Okay, so this is how you're gonna do it. It's very simple. I'm gonna start, I'm only gonna do 2. We're in 3,000 different MLSs, so I apologize if Paragon and Matrix are not your main MLSs. If you need help with using Global MLS or Columbia Green Northern Duchess or something, please let someone in the office know and they can show you how to do it. But I'm gonna show you how to do this in our 2 main MLSs that we do most of our business in. Okay, so this is Paragon. This is tied to the Ulster County Board of Realtors. So if you're in the UCBR, this is what you're gonna log into. To look at the market, and again, if you're doing it every day, everyone sees on the right-hand side where my mouse is. If you're doing this every day, you don't have to go back 7 days. Say you go back 2 days. And it will refresh. All right, it's right here. It's so easy. New listings, what's expired, what's at a price change. The hot list is all of this combined. So you can just click on the hot list and you'll get back on markets, all of that. What's under contract? This is total under contract. So like right now, 1429 is totally under contract. You wouldn't want to click here and go through 1,400 listings. Instead, what you could do is go onto the hot list and you'll see a mixture of everything that has had any type of status change. And then sold. And I'm going to teach you a hack with sold. So say this is what I used to do. I would go to this house. To this house, and I would go, oh, wait, not this house. I don't know anything about Cornwallville. How about, there's a lot of Columbia Green Northern Duchess in here. All right, we'll do this house in Esopus. Okay, so this is a condo in Esopus. This house is sold. And so this is what I used to do when I was teaching myself how to learn the market. I would pull up all the solds. I would click through. I'd look at the pictures. I'd look at the condos. The pictures would pop up on Zoom. It's a little bit slow. I would look at all the information and then I would guess what it sold for. I'd play a little game with myself. How many of the sold houses every day could I actually guess within a pretty close range or exact? How much did this house sell for? So if it's 327 in Ulster, all you do is you scroll down and you'll say here, oh, Patty sold this house. So Patty sold this house for $300,000. Okay, so now what does that tell us? Now there's a new comp in the Riverview condominium complex for a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath with a 1-car garage. And the new price is $300,000. And then I would go to the next house and do the next thing. Okay, this one's in Hudson, 359. Sold. 3-bedroom, one bath, says no garage, but I'm looking at 2 garages, so I'm not sure if that works out. Okay, then I'd go down. Sold for 320, 359 to 320. What is the other thing that this is telling us? Go ahead, Holly, come off mute. What's it telling us?
That the houses are dropping.
Yes.
They're not going over anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right. Here's another quick view in Ulster MLS you can look at. This price, if it's red, it means it's sold for below. If it's even, it means it's sold at asking price. And then if it's above, it would say it's sold, above. That's another thing you should be looking at, okay? Again, I can't stress this enough. You need to look at this every single day. All right, in Matrix, for those of you that use Matrix, this is what it looks like. The hot sheet is going to be somewhere on your front screen. Mine is here. Yours might be up here, over here. You can move these things around. So I don't know where yours is, but this is what it looks like. Now, a couple of things. Matrix covers a million counties. Matrix is Orange, Rockland, Sullivan, Westchester, Putnam, and all of Long Island. And a lot of city listings are in here. And a lot of Dutchess County listings are in here. There's a lot of houses. So what you're going to want to do is, assuming you don't work in all of those locations, you want to customize this hot sheet so that you can pick and choose the areas you're in. So that when you pop up, if I just had every place, new listings, there'd be like 1,000, and then you would never be able to get through it. So you want to customize this to say, if you work primarily in Orange County, to be in Orange County. And look, it's the same deal. New listings, back on market. That might be something that when you got a new buyer client and you were looking for homes to sell them, these houses didn't pop up because they were under contract. Well, now they're back on market, so you should take a look and see if you have a buyer match for it. Price decrease pending in HCAR in a matrix, that means under contract, temporarily off market, withdrawn, expired, coming soon. Coming soon is a feature that you can use in One Key. You can't use it in any of the other MLSs, but it is helpful. Coming soon. Again, you can give a heads up to some people if you have a match, and then sold. So I would do the same thing when I would sell. So let's go to this one. Now, Matrix is not as easy to play the game because they tell you the sold price right at the top. So you kind of have, I would like cover my finger with the computer, with the price and try to guess. Ulster, it's easy because you got to scroll down to see it. So you can really guess. But again, so look, this house sold pretty much for asking price, right? In Gardnertown Road in Newburgh, 2 bed, 1 bath, 780 square feet. And you should also flip through the pictures. This is what a $250,000 2 bed, 1 bath, very small home looks like. This is how you learn the market. It's that simple. Any questions about this? Okay, so I hope everyone commits to doing this every day. Now, the second thing that I'm going to show you how to do is how to pull those stats we were just talking about, the days on market, inventory, and all of that stuff. So what you're going to do if you're in Ulster is you go up into search, residential, and then if you want to look at what's active in the market, you would change it to active and back on market. If you're looking in a certain area, you can choose the area. Otherwise, if you click major area, you can choose just Ulster County if you just want Ulster County numbers. So right now there's 382 active listings in Ulster County. And you can change the price or the acres, depending on what stats and reports you want to pull. Then all you do is you go over here on the right-hand side to reports and hit current market. And you are going to get a pop-up of active listings. I only had active listings checked. That's why these look like 0. So right now there's 382 listings. The dollar volume is $300 million in active listings, listing inventory. The average price in Ulster County is $800,000, which is crazy. The median price is $540, and the average days on market is 80. So average days on market is 80. That's a little over 2 months, right? So it's like 2.5 months seller's market, less than 5 months seller's market. This will also break down how many homes are for sale in different areas and what the median price is, and so on and so forth. You can also pull up other reports. That is the one that I think is the most helpful. This one will show you if you have, say you change this to say active and sold. You can save this. If you do that, you want to make sure that you choose a date range. So say 12 months back. Otherwise, you're going to have all, as you saw, it was like 24,000 houses. And obviously, you know, that's not applicable. Hopefully this will work. And then you can hit search results summary. And you'll see here, so active listings, high, average, medium, low. Your sold listings, high, low, average. The average house is selling for $471. So can that tell the story of an out of balance market in Ulster County? If the average active listing is $804,000, And the average sold listing is $471,000. What does that tell us? Probably tells us that the luxury market is cooling off because a lot of those houses are listed and sticking around. It might also tell us that people in lower price ranges are not going to have much inventory to choose from. You could have different levels of inventory for different price points, right? So where you're talking about months of inventory, it could also change based on what price point you're in. So this, you can go down and you can look at market summary. There's a bunch of different things you can play around here in this one. All right, now Matrix. This is how you get into market reports in Matrix. You go up to where it says market reports. Shocking. And then there's two things, Fast Stats and InfoSparks. I'm going to show you InfoSparks today. This is an amazing free tool that you have access to through OneKey. This is going to give you data. Now, a couple of things to note about this InfoSparks. It only gives you data that is listed in OneKey. So if you are in Ulster County, this probably wouldn't be the best tool for you because it will only show you stats for houses that are listed in Ulster County also in OneKey. It's not going to give you the Ulster County market as a whole. But if you're in one of those other millions of counties I listed before, this is going to be a great tool for you because this is primarily where all the listings are listed. So you can change things. Say you wanted to add an area. You can choose a county. So if we wanted to do, for example, Orange County, let me X this out. Can I X this out? Yep, Orange County. It's crazy. Okay, so Orange County. Now it gives you all of these different options across the top that you can choose from. So for example, you can do all price ranges. You can look at it segmented by price. You can look at all property types. You could look at single family condos, cooperatives. You can look at years built, square footage, bedrooms, blah, 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 blah. And then down here at the bottom is all of the numbers that you can pull from here. So this is the sales price, the median sales price. If you look over here, it starts in 2019 and we've been in a straight shot to the moon since then. So we're currently at, in Orange County, 375,000 average sales price. Now, what you can do over here is you can change this. So if you just want 1 year to see what's happening, like basically since January of 2021, you can do that. You can also do monthly, and this will show you data points based on the month. Now, what does this tell us? If we're looking at average sales price, actually what we should look at here is new listings. What does this tell us? This tells us the seasonality, the yearly seasonality of the real estate market. Can you see how it looks like here? New listings, January, then in March. Can we all agree that a lot of houses are listed from March to May? This is the spring market, June, July. And then in Orange County, it goes down. It bottoms out in December. That's a secret. A lot of people don't like listing their houses in December because they got their holiday stuff up. They don't want to clean. They got parties going on. But you know what these people in December are thinking? I need to list my house in March. I need to list my house in May. They start thinking about it back here. These people that are listing, they probably started thinking about their house in the summertime. So this is a great way to understand the seasonality. This can also be very helpful on a listing presentation. So when you go on a listing presentation in December, here's the conversation. Great news. You're not going to have a ton of competition because historically not a lot of houses get listed in December. And historically, buyers that aren't super interested step out, take a pause in December and January. And so what that means for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is that by listing your house in December, well, actually what I used to say was, so let me ask you, which would you prefer? To list your house when there's 100 options similar to your house, or to list your house when there's maybe 4 or 5? By the way, the answer is to list the house when there's 4 or 5 options. And so if you're getting that objection, You can print out these charts beforehand, bring them on your listing presentation. When people see things in writing, even if you're the person that wrote it down, they're gonna view it as more legitimate than if you're just telling them. So use these charts to your advantage here. That might be the conversation. Same thing up here. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, yes, we can definitely list your home for sale for July. That's when most of the houses get listed for sale. And so we also have to think about, again, you'll learn this in your CMA class. We also have to think about what we're using for comps. So if we're using comps based on sales that happened in January and February and March, when the market's a little bit slower, less homes are selling, you might need to learn how to make an adjustment there. Okay, so you see again, inventory bottomed out in January. We're making some progress. Looks like in August, it's back down again. So these are numbers that you should be looking at, learning, and understanding. Because again, is it a better conversation with somebody when they ask you how's the market? Is it a better conversation which is a better option to say, great, market's great, why do you ask? Versus, well, we're currently at 2.5 months worth of inventory in Ulster County, which means we're still in a very strong seller's market. This time of year, heading into December, we'll probably see low inventory. That's what we've seen over the past couple of years. And then keeping an eye on interest rates and some other factors. Which one of those do you think makes you show up as an expert? It's the second one. That's why you do this. Not because, well, some of you are just into numbers, and I'm sure you'll dig all into this and get really into it. But most of you are like, no, that's not me. I just want to be out talking to people, putting deals together. Great. And use this data to your benefit. Okay, so you can print this right here. It's really easy. It's a great tool for bringing on listing presentations with you. Also, bonus, use this information to send out verbiage to your database. So you send out a monthly newsletter. You should if you don't. It's very easy, not difficult. I used to send one out every month, and we would talk about, it was very simple. The top was a video. It was a video that was always less than 10 minutes. And it was basic information about the market. Hi, this is Rita Gildersleeve, your local Ulster County real estate agent, just updating you again on the market. We currently are at 2.5 months worth of inventory. We have 3 houses for sale in New Paltz under 400,000. However, the average price point of sold is 400,000. And so we need more homes in this price point or whatever. Use some of those numbers, blah, 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 blah. Bam. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, or you're curious about what's happening, curious is a good word. Curious is a good word to use in sales copy and in videos, piques people's interest. If you're curious what's happening in the real estate market, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Underneath that, I'd have a little blurb. Underneath that, I would have any new listings, open houses, stuff like that, like some highlight. Underneath that, I would put local events coming up. There's 1 or 2 things happening this time of year. Every weekend there's something going on somewhere, right? Like and here's a list of places to go pumpkin picking. Like there's a million things that you can come up with. And then underneath that, there would be a grid to my social media. And it would say, this is what I'm up to recently. And it'd be like my Instagram posts. And if you clicked on them, you'd get to my Instagram page. That was it. It would take me maybe 45 minutes a month to do. Most of it was recording the video and finding the events, but it was plug and play. I created a template, whoop, and it hit all the things. I was on video. People could see my voice, see my face, kind of start to familiarize themselves with me. I gave them what a lot of people want to know, which is market data and information. And I connected them with my social media channels. I highlighted that I was listing and selling houses. Done. So you can use that data for that too. All right, any questions about anything we've gone over so far? I'm going to check the chat. Okay. All right, good. All right, moving on. Okay, we have the next thing we're going to talk about, which is another driving factor. So again, the number one determiner of the market is inventory. And yet there are other factors involved with the real estate market. The second one can be interest rates, which are a hot topic right now, and lender regulations, which is also a hot topic right now. So I'm not sure if I see him. Is Jared here with me? Let me see. Give me 1 minute. No, Jared. So I had asked a mortgage broker to come on. You know what we're gonna do? We are gonna take a 2-minute break, and I'm gonna call him and see if he'll hop on, because I can tell you about it, but I'm also not a mortgage broker, and I actually had some really good questions I wanted the answers to. So I'm gonna call him and see if I can get Jared to hop on the meeting with us. So we're gonna take a 2-minute break, refresh your water, look over your notes, stand up and stretch, and we'll be right back. Okay, here he comes. All right. I've found him. Where is he? See, he's connecting. All right, so that was a short break. It might not have been 2 minutes. Maybe it was. I don't know. But we're gonna come back. I have Jared with me. I'm gonna pin myself. I'm gonna pin Jared. Hey, how are you?
Go. Hey, good. How about you?
Good. So we have been talking for the past hour. This is our Ignite class. So these agents are here to learn about how to grow their business. And today's topic is all about studying the market. How do you become a real estate expert, a dependable resource for what's going on in the real estate market at the moment? And so the part of the class that we're at now talks about the benefits of getting with a local trusted lender who can help you understand that side of what's going on in the business, right? So we just went over like their responsibility of studying the inventory, understanding days on market, what's the seasonality of the business, what are other driving factors. But the next key is that you don't have to be the expert in everything. What you need is trusted experts to refer people to for their expertise. And so I thought of Jared, who's one of our preferred lenders with Superior Mortgage in our Hudson Valley North office. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with him. And he graciously agreed to come on and let us rapid fire questions at him. No, it won't be rapid fire, I promise.
I'm ready.
Jared, so do you want to just tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Rita mentioned, I'm with Superior Mortgage. We're a local mortgage brokerage up in the Hudson Valley. And, there's a lot of things that being local really does help with. You guys are talking about the markets there and how to be able to keep a handle on them. And, we see it time and time again, someone has, an out-of-state lender, maybe an out-of-region lender, they come with a pre-approved loan and they don't realize our loan limits aren't the same as they are down in Brooklyn or in the Bronx, and certain types of financing just really don't apply where we are. Up in the Catskills, there's a lot of 3-season homes, 2-season homes. And if they have, a lender that isn't familiar with the area, they may or may not know how to tackle issues that come up with that. So, we've got a lot of, we've been here 30 years. We have a lot of experience doing loans in this area. So we love to see it all, and we love to help with those scenarios.
Awesome. So tell us, what is happening with interest rates right now? So we know that the Fed had their meeting, inflation they're not tampering it as much as they wanted to. So what are we anticipating with interest rates over the next 60 days?
For sure. So yes, I mean, it's been pretty much all year, almost the same story. Rates are going up and it seems to be pretty consistent. So a lot of buyers, when they hear this, they get super, super worried. Oh, my payments are going to go up. You know, anyone who's not buying cash, a mortgage and where mortgage rates are going to impact them. The good news, in my opinion, is that there's a lot of tools that we have that can help with that affordability. So the rate, yes, it sucks to have a higher rate for sure. But everyone's heard this, you know, you marry the house, you date the rate, right? Probably a lot of people have heard that going around. And it's 100% true. And there's a lot of things that we can do to make these even higher interest rate loans more affordable for customers. So, you know, there's lenders that are doing things like a 2-1 buy down. It's a really cool product. You know, there's a couple of them that I think will be really useful, but essentially a 2-1 buy down, it lowers their interest rate by 2% for the first year. It has a huge impact on their monthly payment. So if someone's got, you know, a 6% interest rate that they're getting today, their first year is going to be at 4%. And on a $500,000 loan, that represents like a $600 a month savings.
Wow.
So, you know, for certain buyers, that's going to make the difference. You know, this is for people who can qualify regardless, but they're worried about the payments. You know, there's a lot of things out there like this 2-1 buy down. It can really, really move the needle on affordability.
So what happens after the first year, though? Does it go back up to the current rates
So-
now, or whatever the current rate is at that point?
That particular program, it climbs up. So the first year you have a 2% discount, the second year you have a 1% discount, and then you're at your full indexed rate. And
Okay.
so, you know, it's a short-term solution. Fannie Mae put out projections that next year we're going to see rates near 4.5%. So this is a good opportunity for anyone who thinks, hey, rates are going to be lower in the next year or two. I just want to be at a certain payment in the short term to make sure I'm not overextending financially. So, you know, is there a guarantee rates go down? No, there isn't, but it's a great way, you know, for that person who really can't afford it, but is a little bit nervous on numbers to get that number into a payment that maybe they're more happy with.
That's great.
What's the name of that plan again?
It's called a 2-1 buy down, and there's a bunch of lenders offering it right now. It's a really, really great
But Jared's is the best. The
Jared's
one
is the
Jared
best.
offers
That's
is
right.
the best one. That's the only one you got to worry about.
That's right. Yeah. So you pay up front for it, you know, so any of these things, you have some upfront costs with it. Essentially, you know, without getting too into it, there are some costs with it. There's trade-offs essentially. And I mean, even just regular rate buy downs are making a lot of sense right now. I mean, historically, we've seen a rate buy down, you know, paying 1 point would maybe lower your rate by 0.125. Now it's lowering it by almost 0.5%. That's 3 times more potent than it was last year. You know, this makes a huge difference. So, you know, rate buy downs, interest only options we're seeing become really, really, you know, a lot more prevalent. And
Is
you know,
this-
go ahead.
Is this only available in the New York region, or is it available also like in the Florida area as well?
So we land in Florida also. Yeah, you can also do that in Florida for sure. There's a ton of things you can do in Florida.
Any specific or special qualifications for this loan?
So for any of these, you're going to have to qualify for the loan on its own normal terms. So if you're getting an interest only option, if you're doing a 2-1 buy down, you still have to qualify for the full payment, right? So this is going to be for folks that qualify, but they want their affordability. You know, they're worried about, hey, maybe I can afford to pay $4,000 a month, but I don't want to pay more than 3. That's who it's going to help. If they don't qualify for the loan, they're not going to get the loan regardless. So it just kind of helps with the monthly budgeting.
We had a question.
Ton of them.
Great.
Thank you.
Good question. We have a question in the chat. To what extent do you attribute mortgage rates to level of Fed funds versus Fed's appetite to buy in the secondary market? Average person stares at rate policy, but it seems like spread between Fed funds and mortgages is just as important. Well, it's also tied to the 10-year Treasury mortgage rates, which is different than the Fed rate. Is not necessarily always the same.
Yeah, so I mean, and kind of like, I would say this isn't a conversation I'd really get into with buyers traditionally anyway, but the Fed funds rate, it doesn't really necessarily have, so if the Fed raises rates, that doesn't mean mortgage rates are going up necessarily. A lot of people think because we see such high inflation, CPI is 40% based on housing prices. So like that inflation, a lot of that's because we've seen housing prices go up so dramatically. So there's a lot of people that think the Fed is hell bent on, they're buying back less mortgages now, right? So that's going to impact mortgage rates more than the Fed funding rate. If you can't sell the mortgage, you're going to have to charge more, for the mortgage essentially. And so, no, I don't think, if I'm reading this correctly, I don't think the Fed fund rate is necessarily going to change mortgage rates. But it changes other things, it impacts the stock market, right? The Fed fund rate goes up, everyone's portfolio goes down. Now we have less money to put into down payment. So it's, it's definitely impacting us, though it may not be directly tied to mortgage rates. If that
Okay.
helps.
Can you explain that in basic terms? A lot of these agents are newer. What the concept around points is, like buying down the rate with a point, and how that works.
Sure. So this is like tale as old as time, and it's one of the things that in the last few years, not many people were paying points because rates were so low you didn't have to. But a point is when you pay an upfront fee to the bank, it's considered prepaid interest, and in return you get a lower interest rate. And so, for example, scribbled out some numbers here. If you have a $500,000 loan at a 6% interest rate, right? That's going to have just under a $3,000 a month payment, roughly. If you paid 1 point on that loan, it would cost you $5,000 at closing. So your closing costs go up a little.
Did I freeze?
Oh, can you hear me? Oh, still hear me. Okay. So if you paid 1 point, that could bring your rate down to around 5.5%. So instead of a $3,000 a month payment, you're going down to like $2,840. So on a monthly basis, you're saving, nearly $200 a month, about $150, $160 a month. And if it costs you $5,000 to get there, it's not going to take very much time before that $150 a month is much higher than the $5,000 that you paid into it initially. So the idea behind points is really, if you're going to be there for 3, 4, 5+ years, paying points can save you a lot of money in the long term on a mortgage, tens of thousands of dollars. Hopefully that makes some sense.
Yes, thank you. My internet froze, but I'm sure exactly what you said was exactly the right answer.
Terrific.
Okay, now I can't figure out how to repin both of us. So I'm just going to say unpinned. All right, that is excellent. So with a couple, does anybody else have any questions for Jared? Now, here is the key to all of this. As you can see, he's very well versed. He can talk about all of this stuff. That means that you don't have to, right? That is the benefit of having a trusted mortgage broker. Because here's the script. When someone says, what's going on with interest rates, you can kind of give them a general idea, and then you can say, and yet, the best way you're going to really learn how to get the best mortgage product and win in the current market is by speaking with a trusted mortgage broker. Can I send you to my trusted mortgage broker who is very knowledgeable, who I ask questions of when I have questions, right? That is the key. And that should be the key with all of the people that you start to build with your real estate career. You should have a trusted attorney and a trusted home inspector and a trusted mortgage broker and our in-house title company, right? Kristen that runs our title company can be your trusted title person. When you have those resources, the burden isn't just on your shoulders then to understand everything. It's that also the value proposition that you have a team of people working around you that are knowledgeable and are going to help them through the process. Because if you guys remember, what did I say? One of the top value propositions for buyers is number one is they want a good deal, whatever that looks like in the current market. And number two is they want help working through the process. That's their second highest value proposition is, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And so I need help. That's why I'm coming to you. And usually the realtors are the first stop. The realtors are the doorway into the other the rest of the professionals. It's one of the reasons why we have the vendor alliance program in the office, so that you guys have trusted people that even as a newly licensed agent, you can just default in and say, okay, I know that the office uses Jared and his business, and he would only get onto the vendor alliance if he was recommended to be there. So let me build a relationship with him. So, so Jared, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes. Can you do me a favor and put your contact information in the chat?
Will do, yeah.
And that way, if you have other questions for Jared, feel free to reach out to him directly. You can also share that information with your clients so that they can reach out to Jared directly. Here's one more thing, and I didn't ask Jared this beforehand, but I bet he'd be okay with it. So we were just talking about monthly newsletters and what
Yeah.
like a good structure would look like for a monthly newsletter. My suggestion was at the top, do a video. That's what I used to do, and it would get a lot of views on it. I would assume, Jared, you'd be open to doing videos with any of these guys where they could talk about the
For
real
sure.
estate market. You could talk a little bit about what's going on in mortgages. And now you've given them the information that you need, right? In a short, people aren't going to watch an hour-long video about interest rates and inventory and that kind of stuff, but like under 5 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes, get the information out there. So you're willing to do that.
Absolutely. Love to.
Awesome. Great. All right. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Jared, so much. This was excellent. I hope you all at least learned something from Jared if you haven't learned anything from me yet today.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Here we are. So we're going to skip this slide because we just heard straight from the source. Okay, and Jared touched on this a little bit as well. So in addition to inventory, in addition to interest rates and what's going on in the mortgage market, economic factors can play a huge role in how you explain the real estate market. Economic factors and indicators are the best way to stay ahead of the potential market shifts, because this is what generally happens, especially in our Hudson Valley and upstate area. Things do not hit us at the same time that they hit other areas of the country. There are certain markets in the United States that are like mover markets. One of them is Austin, Texas. One of them is Phoenix, Arizona. I think another one is San Francisco. What normally happens is the market shifts in those areas first. So the market will shift there first, and sometimes like 18 months later. So when I got into the real estate industry in 2014, we were in a buyer's market. It's because the market in Ulster County didn't bottom out until 2013. 2018, 2019 was still somewhat of a seller's market in Ulster County. The foreclosures hadn't even hit yet. We're delayed. And there's certain economic factors tied to that you should understand. Okay, so again, becoming the economist of choice means understanding how is the economy moving as a whole. And so some questions you might study and look at is what is the employment or unemployment rate in your market? You might tie this with, are there major employers that are coming into the area or exiting from the area? By the way, if there's a major employer coming to your area, you should call them and say, I'm assuming you are hiring and potentially having people relocate. Who is your relocation agent? Just be a relocation agent. Okay, great. The person you would normally talk to is HR department. Is the HR department. So like there's a bunch of big warehouses being built right now in Orange County. Do they have a designated real estate agent? Maybe, I don't know. But they probably are relocating executives and managers and people that will be coming to the area. So what's the employment and unemployment rate? How many workers are entering or exiting the workforce in your market? What is the growth rate of your community? Has the government made any changes to rules and regulations that might affect the housing market? In our area, in Ulster County, Greene County, Columbia County, Dutchess to some extent, but definitely Ulster, Columbia, and Greene, a major consideration of the real estate market that is applicable here and not always applicable in Rockland and other more like bedroom communities is short-term rental laws. That is a micro issue that affects certain areas of the Hudson Valley much more than other areas. And unfortunately, with short-term rental laws, you could be down to like the village of New Paltz allows something that the town of New Paltz doesn't allow, or the town of New Paltz allows something that the village doesn't allow. It can be that micro. So these are the things that you have to study and understand. Now, those types of things you can study by attending planning board, building department, at zoning board meetings. These happen monthly in all the municipalities. If you're not attending monthly, you can usually get the minutes offline. And what things get discussed there, major developments coming into the area, projects that are being approved, new regulations coming down, people making requests of these things for different things that they want to do at their house. That is a great way to understand the local economy in the small areas where you are. So if you sell real estate in Kingston, you should be going to the common council meetings and the planning board meetings, the building department, whatever other, the zoning, board meetings, and understanding that. Right now, they're proposing major zoning changes in Kingston. Are you aware of that? Very important. They want people, and I won't go into what it is. You can do the research. You can talk to me offline if you want to know, because it's only applicable to people in Kingston. But those are the types of things that you learn by staying up to date with the different publications. Now, in addition to that, there's a great resource, and it's Hudson Valley Pattern for Progress. So you should write this down. It's Hudson Valley Pattern for Progress. It's a not-for-profit policy, planning, advocacy, and research organization. And they put out very, very comprehensive reports about the market and about housing solutions. This is a great organization to be involved in. You should like them on Facebook. You should follow them on social media, get onto their mailing lists. They do very, very good work in the Hudson Valley. There was an eye-opening study that I read all about how we have great colleges in the area. SUNY New Paltz is one of the highest ranked SUNY schools. We have Vassar, we have Marist, right? Like all these great colleges. And yet when people are graduating from them, they're leaving. They're leaving the area. We're not retaining jobs. There was a whole report about that with tons of stats and figures that you would have to pay a lot of money to get access to. So the Pattern for Progress is a great way to understand what's going on, and they cover all of the Hudson Valley. They have all different events. They're always doing some type of event. They do stuff live. And there's a magazine. So like, see, I would go after this class and download this magazine, a special report analyzing Hudson Valley demographic changes early in the COVID-19 pandemic. Is that useful? Yes, it is. Is that going to give you some data to give to your clients? Yes, it will. Does that make for some semi-boring, but some people will be interested in it, dinner talk? Yes, dinner, meeting talk, networking. If you're somebody out there that's like, they're telling me to go network and I don't want to network. I don't know what to talk to people about. Read this thing. Tell people these facts. There's tons of stuff in here. It's their website is chock full of really great things. At the top, so like you can see, percentage of households with no vehicle, percentage of people who speak language other than English, the bridges by the numbers, percentage of housing units built before 1970. Like there is so much stuff up here. Down here, there's a housing update. The housing market outlook for 2022. They usually do this like right around this time. They were doing it more frequently last year. I haven't seen them do it as much this year. But at the top of this website, if you go to what we do, you can go to pattern reports and you can download all sorts of different reports. There's a tons. So this is a great resource. Following along local organizations is a great resource. Attending your local board meetings is a great resource for you. All of those things will help you continue to be the local expert of choice. By the way, it'll also help you make connections. The people involved in Pattern for Progress are very successful business people for the most part. So if you'd like to expand your reach in terms of your business to business networking, Pattern, the board, those types of resources, that's where you can go and meet business owners and executives in the area. Guess what business owners and executives and people making a lot of money usually do or have? Real estate, nice houses, investment properties, or they want investment properties. Good people to network in with. Okay, other important market factors to investigate. So neighborhood numbers, nearby shops and restaurants, nearby health facilities, neighborhood attractions. If you're new to the area, or some of my agents in Kingston show huge areas of lands, like they'll be up in Columbia County someplace, and then the next day they'll be down in Marlboro, like, all over the place. It can be kind of tricky to understand, particularly if you're working in the second home market, because second home buyers by nature are not as location specific as people that are going to buy a full-time residence. So you kind of have to understand a general area. So a couple of tips here. You want to familiarize the area where you're going to show houses. If you don't know it, if it's not your town or someplace where you're super familiar with it, you want to look like, if I would go down, say I'd be down, there's areas of Orange County I don't know really well, but I would work in Orange County from time to time. So as I was driving to the showing, I would take note of things like, okay, I just got off the thruway. Okay, the house is 15 minutes from the thruway. Like, that's a good fact. Oh, I passed the hospital. Oh, there's a school here. Oh, the little view, it's 2 turns out of, the village of Cornwall to get to the house. I don't need to know much more than that, but at least I kind of get my bearings around what's around there. I used to also go early and drive around. If I really didn't know the area, I would go early and just drive around and figure out where's the nearest town in comparison to this, because that is not a fun conversation when you're at a house and the clients are like, so where's this nearest supermarket? And you're like, who knows? I'm in the middle of Sullivan County and I don't even know how to get out of here, right? Like, so kind of familiarize yourself with that kind of stuff. You can also like and interact with local businesses on social media. Again, this is a great way to learn what people are up to. Is there a community event that you can get involved in? Is there a street fair that you can come and volunteer to put a table up for? Can you just go there and hand out some business cards and have some conversations what's going on? Can you share businesses on your social media? That's a great way. If somebody's doing an event and posting about it on their social media, share it. Share it onto your social media. Business owners love that. It's another way to network with business owners. And also when you're in, I was in Greenville yesterday. I've never been to Greenville. My mom's looking at a house to buy in Greenville. So we went to Greenville. We're standing in the house and verbatim, I said to her, this house is great. I have no idea where we are. I don't know where we are.
I went
Holly,
twice this week.
to Greenville.
Got totally lost coming home. Like,
Turns out it's
not
so
lost.
cute.
I actually wasn't lost. It just felt like I was lost because it was 8
Yeah.
o'clock at night, like 8 to 9.
Yeah.
Just
Turns
funny.
out, I know. And so my husband and I moved up to Greene County 2 years ago, and we still are like, we don't know where we are. Like, we've kind of gotten the 3 towns around us, but if we go like west at all, we're no clue. So what did my mom and I do? I said, I don't know what Greenville is. I don't know what type of town it is. And it's my mom, so I can say like, I'm lost in the dark here. And so we drove into the town and I mapped to the grocery store and we pulled in and we looked at the grocery store. And then we found the park and we pulled in and we looked at the park and we drove around and made sure there was a couple restaurants there. And so that was kind of helpful. So if it wasn't my mom, I would have done that earlier. I would have went a little early and done the drive-through and figured out what's what and how I can figure that out. One of the things though that I noticed when I was in Greenville is they're doing some type of fest, like down street festival on the 23rd and the 24th. They had signs out, they had some promotion for it. It's awesome. Great. Now I know that. If I drive through before my showing and then I'm showing the house, there's a great street festival coming up right in the downtown area. I mean, I just figured that out. I wouldn't say that, but I just saw a sign because I got here a little early and figured it out, right? So those types of things are some other important market factors that you can investigate. Another thing that isn't in this book, and we're gonna wrap up. So I'm gonna take some questions. There was more to this packet, but I hope I gave you enough information for today without overloading you. Another thing that is helpful if you work in a second home market or you're working with people that want second homes, investment properties, short-term rentals, in addition to kind of having to understand what the regulations are, AIRDNA, AIRDNA is an amazing website. You do have to pay for certain reports. Some stuff you can get for free. A lot of the stuff you have to pay for. That will give you in-depth statistics about the short-term rental market. It aggregates data from Airbnb and VRBO, and it will show you average occupancy rate in different areas, average price in different areas, and it's fascinating. You will look, here is an important tidbit that you'll know without doing research. Over the past year or so, the average price per night of an Airbnb in most places in Ulster and Greene counties has gone down because there's more competition. Everyone came up and bought an Airbnb. Everyone came up and bought a short-term rental. So now instead of there being 5 short-term rentals, there's 100. I'm gonna put it in airdna.com. That's the website. Just put it into the chat. And so airdna.com. So that can be a good resource. That's also a great resource if you help somebody buy a short-term rental every year on their anniversary. You should pay for their AirDNA report. I think it's like $10, not like $5. It's not expensive, and mail it to them. That is a great client touch. That will also help you understand as you're navigating those types of clients, how to help them navigate the market. All right, so I'm gonna stop my share. What questions can I answer? So you're on mute. Are you talking to me? No, talking to the crowd.
I have a question.
Okay, great.
I really enjoyed your class today. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I just want to know, how can I get back to see Wednesday's class?
Back to see.
Last week, Wednesday, or any. How do you go back to see recorded classes?
If they're not yet posted in OP updates, I will talk to Erin, who's in my office. She's in the next wall over for me, to make sure that they get posted in our OP updates Facebook group. Cassie's saying that they're on YouTube as well. So you could go to our YouTube channel for the KW Hudson Valley and Upstate group YouTube channel, and they should be posted there. Good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions? Zoe, any questions for Middletown?
No, a lot of people were taking some good notes and really appreciated, especially what Jared had to share.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Jared's a great resource. Use him. Use him and trust him with your clients. Honestly, they're good mortgage brokers. That's why they're on our vendor alliance program. Okay, any final questions before we wrap up?
Did you do your own filming for your videos?
Yep. We got a ring light, and I put the pretty filter on Zoom. That's a good secret.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's it. And I just recorded using my camera on my computer. If you want a professional look, you can go to the New City office, and we have a green room in there.
Yeah.
We have a
Mhm.
professional recording studio in New City. They're work in progress in Kingston and in Middletown as well. So those will be built out over the next couple of months. Holly, I see you came off mute. Do you have a question?
I just wanted to say thank you. No,
Oh,
it was a
you're
good
welcome.
class.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Great. All right. I
Yeah,
hope
thank
that you
you.
learned something. You're welcome. I hope
did.
you learned something. I am teaching the listing class, which is my favorite one to teach
Oh,
ever.
good.
I'm going to teach you guys how to go and get every single listing appointment you go on. That's not for another couple weeks. So just keep coming back to Ignite. There'll be another session, great session on Wednesday from 11 to 12:30. And in the meantime, don't take the information you just learned and then go to the grocery store and do nothing with it, right? Go do your lead generation, make your contacts, do your social media posts, pull some basic market stats, and keep moving your business forward. And if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know. You know where to reach me.
Great,
All right,
bye.
thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, bye, everyone.